Have you ever noticed that all around the world, kids are starting to learn English at a really, really young age? It's this global movement called TEYL, or Teaching English to Young Learners. It's a huge deal, and it kind of makes you wonder, right? Why this massive push to get toddlers speaking English? Well, it turns out the answer isn't as simple as you think. To really get it, you've got to see just how different the approach is from one corner of the globe to another. So let's dive right in. We're looking at a world of young learners, where the how of teaching English is shaped by everything from deep-seated cultural beliefs to national ambitions. And the differences are fascinating. You see, in many parts of Asia, there's a laser focus on academic and professional success down the line. So teaching often involves a mix of memorization and structured conversation. On the other hand, you pop over to Europe and places like Finland or Spain, and the philosophy is totally different. It's all about holistic development, weaving English into games and everyday fun, making it feel completely natural. It's a really clear window into what different cultures prioritize in education. But here's the thing. Even with all those different methods, there's one idea that pretty much everyone agrees on. Starting early is a game changer. And this isn't just some gut feeling. It's backed by some incredible science about how a child's brain actually works. Okay, so first, let's talk about what's happening inside their heads. A young kid's brain is basically like a super-powered sponge. It's incredibly flexible, or plastic, and just soaks up new information. This is the sweet spot for learning a new language and getting that native-like pronunciation. But it goes way beyond just sounding right. Learning another language actually beefs up the brain's command center, boosting critical skills like problem-solving, memory, and even concentration. Then, of course, you've got the social perks. These early language classes are all about working together, singing songs, playing games, doing group activities. So yeah, they're learning English, but they're also learning teamwork, empathy, and how to confidently express themselves. And maybe the best part? Little kids are fearless. They aren't worried about making mistakes, which, as you know, is the perfect mindset for picking up a new language. And all of this connects to the bigger cultural picture. Learning English this early is like giving a child a passport to the world. They hear stories and sing songs from different places, and that sparks a natural curiosity and awareness. In the world we live in today, you just can't put a price on that kind of global perspective. So we've covered the why. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually do this effectively? Well, it all boils down to a few core principles that we can think of as the golden rules of TEYL. And you know what? It's not as complicated as it sounds. All that complex theory can be distilled into just this. Five unforgettable golden rules that give you a clear, practical roadmap for the classroom. Rule number 1, and honestly, it's the most important one: child-centeredness. This means everything, and I mean everything, revolves around the child. Your lessons, your activities, even how you set up the room. It all has to connect with their interests, where they are developmentally, and what they're naturally curious about. Rule number 2, learning through play. This one is absolutely critical. For young children, play isn't just a break from learning. Play is the learning. It's how they explore, experiment with new words, and practice language in a way that's fun, meaningful, and totally stress-free. All right, our third rule is all about using a multi-sensory approach. Kids learn with their whole bodies, not just their ears. So you have to engage their sight, their hearing, their sense of touch, and get them moving. When you use real objects, silly gestures, and catchy songs, you're turning abstract words into concrete, memorable experiences. Rule number 4, listening and speaking first. Just think about it. This is exactly how we all learned our first language, right? We spent tons of time listening and babbling before we ever saw a letter or a word written down. A great TEYL classroom copies that natural process. You build a strong foundation of speaking and listening before you even think about reading and writing. And the final golden rule: create a positive environment. The classroom has to be a safe harbor, a warm, welcoming space where kids feel supported and encouraged. When they feel safe, their anxiety just melts away, and they're so much more willing to take a chance and try out the new language. That's how you spark a real love for learning that can last a lifetime. Okay, so now that we have the rules, let's start filling our teacher's toolkit. We're moving from the theory to the practice, with one of the most effective strategies out there: thematic instruction. Thematic instruction is just a brilliant way to make learning feel connected and real. Instead of a bunch of random lessons, you build everything around one fun theme. And the process is super straightforward. First, you pick a theme kids will get excited about. Then, you set your goals. After that, you just weave all your different activities around that one theme. And finally, you check for understanding in a natural way, like just watching them play a game using the new words.
So here's a perfect example of what that looks like. Let's say your theme is animals. For language, you focus on words like cat, dog, lion. You can sing Old MacDonald. You can read a classic story like The Lion and the Mouse. You can get crafty, making animal masks, and you can play a fun animal sound guessing game. See? Every single activity reinforces the same core ideas, but in a new, exciting way.
So it's pretty clear that teaching English to young learners is about so much more than just vocabulary lists. When you really get to the heart of it, the real goal is something much, much deeper. And this quote just says it all perfectly. The best TEYL programs are the ones that respect a child's innate curiosity. It stops being about just teaching them English and starts being about nurturing them as a whole person, helping them grow both linguistically and personally. Which really leaves us with one big question to think about. When we teach English to these little kids, are we just teaching them another language, or are we actually doing something bigger? Are we helping shape the next generation of curious, confident, and culturally aware citizens of the world?